So I'd like to welcome everyone to our webinar, which is driving up customer satisfaction scores. Quite interesting to see how metrics have changed. I think if you look back 5 years ago, or even 7 years ago, Net Promoter Score was the flavor of the month. Then we went on to the customer effort score, and it's quite interesting. A lot of surveys now, everything's coming back to the old customer satisfaction score. Very easy to understand. How satisfied are you with the service you've received? So we've got a great panel of people to talk with you today. Delighted to welcome Francesca Ray from New Day. And Francesca, you've recently won a number of awards for your customer service there.
Yes, I mean, you know, we're really proud. I think we've been on quite a transformation over the last 3 to 4 years. And I always think the best time to go for awards is when you can tell a real story. And we've got some great stories in many veins. So we've won some digital experience ones, contact center ones, and a lot around gathering customer insight and then taking action on the back of that. So that's been very positive for us. Thank you. So,
brilliant. Yeah. Also delighted to welcome Arif Khan from Nice Nexidia. Arif is a last-minute substitution. Unfortunately, Jonathan Wax has rather damaged his nerves with sciatica. Very, very painful, and has been ordered by the doctor to have complete rest for a week or so, and as well as some very strong medicine. So hopefully Jonathan will be getting better. But Arif, delighted you've spoken on our program before, so welcome back.
Thank you, John T. Glad to be here.
And you're going to be looking at some of the technology angle between scoring customer interactions.
Yes, absolutely, and kind of more specifically around trying to measure those really hard to define soft skill behaviours as well, because that's a real challenge that organisations have faced over the last sort of few years, and with the advances of technology, we're now able to start to measure those things, and that puts a real different angle on how you can improve the experience.
And delighted also to welcome Gavin Scott. Gavin, welcome back to the webinar programme.
Thank you. This is my 3rd event, I think, so it's good to be back, John T.
And hopefully it will prove as memorable as your last presentation when you're talking about creating memories for customers, which I think is great. If you want to, I'm sure we can find the link to the previous one as well worth watching. If you want to watch the replay of today, it'll be available later on this afternoon. Call Centre Helper /recorded webinars. Please now, everyone, log into the chat room. We haven't got many people in the chat room today, but it's very easy to get in. cch.chat or callcenterhelper.com/chat. It does come in a separate window. So slides on one side, chat room on the other. Simplest way to get in, just type CCH chat into your mobile phone. That's probably the easiest way to do it, and then you can see everything. You can ask questions. There's a bottle of champagne, boxed chocolates, or indeed an Amazon gift card for the best tip. Just use #question or #tip. We can see well that's coming through. And if you want the slides, lots and lots of details on Francesca's, Arif's, and Gavin's presentation. So you'll almost certainly want a copy of that. Go into the chat room, cch.chat, and then you can download the webinar slides when you're in there. So that's going to be the best place to do that. Right, I'm now going to start off with a poll, and I just want to share a question with you, which is what level are your most recent customer satisfaction scores? Now, if you're working on a scale of 0 to 10, this is probably quite easy to figure it out. If you're working on a scale of 5, you'll probably have to interpolate what you think this is. But your score is roughly 0 to 50%, 50 to 69%, 70 to 79%, 80 to 89%, 90 to 94%, or is it 95% plus? So let's see what's coming in. Francesca, presumably you're if you've won an award, you're towards the top end of this scale.
We're very pleased. We use the NetEasy and the Net Promoter, and we have recently launched a team, our digital coordinators, which I'll maybe mention as I go through. And this is, they've been coming through very early days at 81%, so we're really pleased with that. And that's out of a scale of 10. So 9 and 10 promoters, 0 to 6 are detractors, and we're really delighted with that.
Wonderful.
Because they're dealing with failure demand. They're dealing with the calls where people have maybe had a few issues online, and they're helping them get back online. So we're delighted with that.
No, that is very, very good. It all depends when you ask people, I guess. So it looks like the bulk of the audience, 80 to 89%. So that's very, very good, and that's what your customers are saying. So yeah, I think that's great. We've got a couple of people down at the lower end, so you're going to be learning an awful lot about how you can improve that. And if you're at the top end of that, don't forget, put a tip into the chat room of what you're doing, and you might win a prize. Okay, brilliant. Well, let's jump across now to Francesca, and if you'd like to put your slides up and take us through about what you can do to drive up customer satisfaction.
Here we go. Let me just display that here. Okay, so hi everybody. As I said before, there's no one
quite yet. Are you sharing?
Are you not seeing them?
I'm not.
Oh,
I don't know if Joe can just quickly pop that on the screen.
Let me just come back on. Ah, you're right. Hang on, let me just go back. I'll try again. Sorry, I'll try again. Bring you back here. Not typical. There we go. Now you should be seeing them, and I'm just going to do the present mode.
That's it. Excellent.
Right, is that better?
Indeed, wonderful.
Right, sorry about that, folks. So as I said before, I don't think there's one simple thing. There's a combination of a number of things that drive up satisfaction scores, and you really do have to play a game of balancing that. But you can probably put them under umbrellas of stuff you do around people engagement, listening to your customers and acting on your customers' sort of feedback. And then around process and technology, making things really effortless for customers so that you're really sort of supporting them in their experience journeys. I just want to do an introduction to myself. So my background, I've worked in a number of contact centers and large companies, just so you know a bit about me. I worked at GE Capital. I worked at AXA Life, O2, when O2 was born and then became Telefonica O2. And Cable and Wireless BT before I've been now at New Day for 7 days and 7 years even, sorry. And New Day is a leading UK consumer finance provider. So we provide credit cards for the near prime and co-brand sectors of the UK credit market. We've got up to 5 million customer accounts. We have a co-brand business which works with digital. So we've got the Amazon MasterCard, Argos and AO in the UK, and the high street retailers. And you can imagine, certainly in the UK, that has been quite an interesting arena just recently. And then our own brands business. This is where we lend to people who maybe need a second chance. So we've got our own cards known as Marvels, Aqua, Opus, and Fluid. We have a manifesto, customers are at the heart of everything we do, and our purpose to help customers move forward with credit. And, you know, we want to be a leading digitally enabled consumer finance provider. So as we said before, you know, there's no one thing, but I'll give you first of all a few practices that have served me well, things that I feel passionate about, that wherever I go, I sort of put the points to. I think you need to always, when you're thinking about customer satisfaction, think about your area purpose. What is your raison d'etre? What's your reason for being? So often I go into centres and I see the metrics that they're putting across their managers, their agents, their success measures, and then nothing to do with what they're actually there to be. And I give you an example. I worked in Cable and Wireless. I worked where we basically, it was all about taking in calls from our customers, getting them connected quickly. So really doing that triage, and if you couldn't help them, passing them to the expert who could. And I came in, and the KPI they had was AHT. I mean, that is not a measure that's going to actually drive what you're there to do. So it was really frustrating, and I changed that very quickly. So do my KPIs for agents, management departments, support the achievement of my purpose. Really, really key to us, and something that we're really happy that, you know, we do well, is gather insight from all sources. We use voice of customer, voice of people through our bug boards. We do the complaints. We look at app reviews, client reviews, anywhere. And we even validate that with speech analytics. Make it real. So don't try and just take the stuff you want to hear. Hear the bad stuff, because if you don't know about it, you can't change it. And seek out the truth. Covers customers' touch points. Make sure it touches all of their touch points, and be ready to make improvements on the back of it. As I said before, AHT, I'm not a fan. Now, I'm not talking about AHT if you've got just data input and accuracy, that's fine. But when it's a customer service thing, it's really a false economy. And you can look at it and definitely manage it at a management level and look for outliers, but do not have it at an agent level. What we do, and what's worked for me in the last 3-4 centers I've worked in, I look at the hold. I break it into 3 components. The hold is the knowledge. The after call work is the efficiency. And yes, you know, really look at those 2, but let the talk time take care of itself, and just look at who are the outliers and give them coaching if they talk too much. But if they talk and they're really passionate about helping customers, you get right first time much more. So monitor and manage the HT at the manager level. Look for the outliers rather than a blanket sweep for everybody, because it's not everybody that's getting it right or wrong. Another thing I'm going to show you right at the end is a 12-box matrix. As I said before, it's not one simple thing. It's really important as leaders of your centers to have a focus on a number of components and make sure you're evolving them. So have an eye on what you're doing about them. Keep an idea around programs you need to drive to make them better. People engagement is one, technology might be another. And then actually make sure you're evolving that and you're keeping in touch with what the market is doing. And I'll share that at the end. And then someone mentioned earlier about change. I think, was it Leah? You know, the volume of change is so important. You know, people think they're doing change really well because their central governance of it is all in control. But actually they forget the amount of change that's actually hitting and impacting the agents, the people on the front line who have to change the way they do things on a daily basis because change is happening around them. So really consider the impact of change on your frontline associates. I talked about voice of customer, and because we are moving more towards a fintech, a more digitally enabled financial provider, you know, we definitely look at Net Promoter in terms of advocacy and asking people, are they likely to recommend us? But we are much more focused on the net easy. And Gavin, you mentioned a 7-point scale. We actually do a 10-point scale. So we look at it, we take the Net Promoter and we measure the same way. And we have 9s and 10s as promoters and 0 to 6 as detractors. And we ask every time when we go out across the touch points, you know, in customer service, we ask NPS, net easy, and associate satisfaction. And then across all of our entire journey, we look at onboarding. How easy was it to open your account? How easy was it managing your account online? The chatbot and digital messaging, how easy was it resolving your query? Obviously, and all the way through. And we really gather verbatim as well. And it's that verbatim that feeds into our improvement program with the insight. And this is where, as I said before, we gather our insight across a number of touch points, and we actually feed that into a program where we use the volume of the noise that we're hearing from various channels. And we have put budget towards that because we've seen great impact on the back of that. And that budget enables us to fix things that matter to our customers. And it really has had an amazing impact on our complaints, where we've seen complaints just drop constantly because we are fixing things that are really either causing them confusion or real pain. And also know your mix of call drivers. So, you know, don't just sit there and presume they're all the same. And also you don't have to spend loads of time gathering data on call drivers all the time. You can dip in and just check if they've changed. 18 months to 2 years ago, the biggest volume of our call drivers would have been basic transactions, payments, activations, etc. That has dramatically changed. And obviously our pandemic enabled us to really accelerate digital adoption. And if you're going to drive digital adoption, don't just cut your customers off. Think about how you help them. And I mentioned earlier about a team that we use. We've brought in a new team called digital coordinators. And these people are there to assist our customers with any digital or online queries they have. And since going live, we've brought in people who are technically much more capable. We've seen this associate satisfaction of 9 point, in fact, it's now 9.7 out of 10, which I'm delighted about. NetEase is at 81 currently, and the NPS is about 75. So that's the Net Promoter. And a lot of that, remember, is driven by your policies as well, that maybe customers don't always like. I also thought it was useful to tell you a little bit, as you are going more digital, what sort of things help me to drive a better satisfaction. And it's around how I make it effortless for our customers. So we used to have a horrible green screen. We had 5 applications. The agents were having to sort of log in, go searching for data. We've now gone to our sort of interface that sits within our omni-channel solution. And this enables, it has all of the information they need at their fingertips, and it solves all of the queries, which is great. So think about the operating platform that your people are using. We've got a great solution where if we've got people who've got any queries, we can send them an in-the-moment SMS. And this is great for the agents because it means they can back up what they're saying with some help. We've done it with links to the website. So rather than sitting there and trying to say www. And giving that and reading that out, they can say, let me send you a link, and you can click on it and go straight to that website. We've done help videos through there to help people understand it more. And more recently, in my financial services world, authentication is very important. And we've done things where we've improved the authentication process by just having, we'll send you a one-time passcode, please read it back to me. And that's enabled them to authenticate the customer in the more advanced transactions. We've used new technology. We've just gone live recently with this new technology where people who want to chat to us, if they're calling in, we'll give them the chance to chat, and we deflect them off to chat, IVR deflect. And then they can actually, we deal with that in a synchronous manner. That means instantly, because if they're phoning, they don't want to wait. Whereas most of our chat is asynchronous. And then think about your FAQs. Nothing frustrates me more than a long list of FAQs. Actually, think about advanced search features. Think about, picking up the information of what are the most asked questions and making sure that your tiles, the things, the help topics, are driven by that dynamic understanding of the biggest volume of the queries. And then some other technology we're looking at. We have a really big focus on data, and we built our own data lake. We've got some strong data scientists. They have helped us by building our own mobile, our chatbot. And we're currently working of integrating some intent detection in there. But we really focus well on our chatbot, and we're moving towards conversational chatbot on our telephony system as well. Smart search queries online. They might want to just say, how much have I spent at Netflix? And it can put in a word and it will pull all their transactions. And then longer term, one of the things I'm working on is bringing forward a virtual assistant, someone who can gather all the data for them at their fingertips. And I think all of these things, as you can see, these enable them to have a much more enriched conversation without having to worry about going and searching for information. So finally, just quickly, I mentioned a 12-box matrix. You'll get these slides. All it is, and you can change this based on what's important to you, but here is a very basic one where each of these topics, you should be thinking about what are you doing about it, almost like a mini SWOT analysis under them, and think about how you're evolving it. So these are just 12 things that I've put down to help you under people, customer, efficiency, and technology. And I've also put those red stars on because the red stars are probably the things that are most tangible towards getting you customer satisfaction, whereas some of the others might go more towards productivity and efficiency and cost savings. So I just thought that might be useful for you. So that was all I was going to share. I'm going to hand back. Hopefully that was useful. I think you're on mute, Jonty.
Thank you very much indeed for that, Francesca. Well, I wonder if everyone can put it into our chat room. What did you like best about Francesca's presentation? If you're not already logged in the chat or you want to get the slides, here's the address, callcenterhelper.com/chat or cch.chat. I loved the align metrics with your purpose, with your raison d'etre, which almost certainly won't align with AHT at an agent level. So think very carefully about the metrics you're using. I like the focus on the NetEase scale. How easy was it to open an account? How easy was it to resolve your problem? Very simple question to ask people. Your complaints volume will drop if you just do things like fix things that cause real pain for the customers. And I did like the idea of, if you've got an FAQs page, just put a search box right at the top of the page. Don't hide it in the top right-hand corner. Right, nice tiles, big box in the middle. What are you looking for? How can we help resolve your problem that
like
way?
a little mini triage. It helps them to sort of drill down much quicker, much
So let's
easier.
have a look at what the audience are saying. The chat room's absolutely humming. callcenterhelper.com/chat. So Gary says, closed loop feedback for customers where they've expressed a negative NPS or customer satisfaction score. Find out from them what went wrong and how
Yeah,
can you learn
good.
from it.
That's very good. Yeah, definitely.
Something you've been doing there. Kim says, recap what your customer is wanting after they explain to ensure correct action and confirm understanding. Or if this puts them at ease with that you have listened attentively, which goes in hand with showing a willingness to assist. Arif, I think this is a nice one. I think
So just coming off mute there. Yes, absolutely.
So a good one there. Lee says, organize collaborative groups to identify and agree on areas critical to quality within the customer journey and assess or amend your customer satisfaction proposition accordingly so that the voice of the customer is clear and you have other data to support the scaling where you have lower completion rates. Mel also says, go back to your customers when they've expressed a negative, ask them to explain in detail. And Gary also says, look at your key moments of truth. Gavin, I think you're going to be talking about moments of truth in a little bit, and measure the NPS or E score at these points rather than the overall journey to help pinpoint key points of the journey. So Gavin, I think you're going to be talking along how the agents can delight customers later.
Yeah, and it links back to some of the bits that Fran shared in her presentation about just breaking down that journey and making sure that at each moment when your customer interacts with you, you're doing that really well. So absolutely.
Indeed. Well, let's jump up, and who we've got next is Arif. So if you'd like to share with us some of your thoughts, and then we can take it from there.
Okay.
There you are, just coming through
my
now.
screen.
Excellent. Thank you.
Wonderful. Right. Okay. Right, so let's get started and let's talk about the new work from home reality. So what has changed? So essentially there's a lot more prevalence around home office technology. I heard an interesting stat in the news the other day, which was before COVID and lockdowns, there's about 5% of the working population were working from home. That shot up dramatically to 45–50%. So there's been a huge shift, unsurprisingly, based on what we've seen over the last year. And actually that's going to start to move towards potentially more of a hybrid working model that we're starting to see in the press. So as a result of that as well, we're seeing different conversations are taking longer. As Fran mentioned as well, the call mix has changed in the last year, which is making it more challenging. Some calls are taking longer, maybe repeating, as well as escalations as a result. There's also less visibility of agent activity as well. With agents being at home, how do you kind of monitor their activity? How do you support them, more importantly, as well? And then finally, support staff, such as quality evaluators, have been helping with spikes in volumes as well, with the dramatic shift in terms of lockdown and certain centres closing, as well as retail shops, channel deflection, so calls going into the call centre. You know, we've seen some real kind of erratic volumes. Like that. Okay, so what hasn't changed? Well, customers still expect an excellent level of service and they want their queries resolved. That hasn't changed. And also agents are critical to customer satisfaction. In fact, agent behaviours contribute 75% of the customer satisfaction. So as part of this transformation, and this kind of unwanted transformation that took place over last year, customers expect and demand more than ever before. They want an effortless experience, they want a personalized experience, and they want to be treated well. On a positive note, however, if they have an exceptional experience, they're more likely to buy more. So what that means is organizations are really working hard to deliver a differentiated level of experience. And they know the best place to start is actually during the customer interaction itself. And the agent performance is a key component of that. Okay, so what's holding organizations back? Well, a lot of organizations have processes and QA programs in place. Essentially, the goal of these programs is to ensure that the agent is doing the right thing at the right time during the interactions. Unfortunately, these programs are ineffective, and the contact center leaders who run them don't believe that they're contributing to the overall success of the actual program itself. Worse still, only 9% of agents think that the QA program actually helps them to be successful. And here's the point of tension, really. These organizations know how important customer interactions are, yet they have ineffective programs in place that are not suited for success. This then begs the question, why is that? So there are three main reasons. Firstly, organizations are not really measuring what matters. And really what matters today are agent soft skills. They're not being measured because they're subjective and difficult to define. And what is being measured is not necessarily tied to the customer experience. It's mostly adhering to things like greetings or following a script that are more inwardly focused, not outward focused measures. Secondly, these organizations are still using old quality methods. These methods are ineffective. They are manually completed, they're subjective as well, and expensive to run. And because they are expensive, you're only really getting a sample of interactions. Which leads to the third reason, is that with the sample and with the majority of interactions not being sort of taken into account, they're not getting enough feedback, or nor is the feedback meaningful. So therefore the agent isn't really bought into the program itself. So when you combine these challenges with the fact that many agents are now working from home, with some form of remote supervision, the stakes have never really been higher.
Indeed.
So these organizations need to find a way to measure what matters, and to do that in a way that engages the agents. That's the real challenge. Only then can the organization start to deliver against their customer experience targets. What is required is a predictive and interpretive AI models to score subjective soft skill behaviors of the agents on every interaction. And to do it in a way that enables organizations to engage with their agents with targeted coaching and self-learning tools that actually highlight the agent's opportunities to improve. And this is where Nice Enlighten comes in. So Nice Enlighten is our AI engine, which is designed for customer engagement. And it does a couple of things. So the first point is that it measures customer satisfaction. For lots of organizations, CSAT is being measured using surveys. Unfortunately, surveys do not provide the big picture because of the response rates tend to be low. So what we've done is build a predictive model that measures customer sentiment on every single interaction without relying on surveys. The result is a numeric score on every interaction. These scores are strongly correlated with TNPS. Therefore, the sentiment score is a reliable predictor and a proxy for a survey response, even without you having to send a survey. So now that you can reliably measure CSAT on every call, the next thing is really around how do you improve that? It's all well and good being able to measure it, but what is it you need to do in order to improve? And that's where the CSAT models, in terms of behavioral, that actually lead to better outcomes. So those behaviors are things like active listening, build rapport, and taking ownership, to name just a few. These are some of the soft skills that drive customer satisfaction. And as you can appreciate, these soft skills can be difficult, if not impossible, to define and measure with humans. But Nice Enlightened takes care of that. And as we've trained the models to generate a metric for every one of the behaviors on every call across every agent without human involvement. So with this level of capability, organizations can measure sentiment, but also the all-important soft skill behaviors on every interaction. They are ready to meet the new demands being expected of them from the consumer. So by adopting Nice Enlightened, we have a number of customer success stories, and this has helped really bring it to life as well. So the first is a communications company who saw a significant improvement in TNPS by measuring and managing the soft skills. They also dramatically reduced their manual listening overhead. A knock-on benefit, to their surprise, was actually the large improvement in employee satisfaction and agent retention. The agents actually believed that they were making a difference, and they were being judged not on a sample of calls, but their entire body of work. The second is an entertainment company who saw an impressive 5% improvement in FCR. Here, the agents were focusing on taking ownership as a behavior of the customer's problem. And finally, there was a healthcare organization who reduced the time spent on manual audits and also witnessed a 4% reduction in AHT, which is Fran's least favorite KPI from our earlier presentation. So we know it works. CSAT improves, agents are more engaged, and the overall operation is more efficient. So in summary, the best way to meet customer expectations in this new economy is to leverage an AI solution and using that technology to measure what matters, automate the quality program, but also engage agents in a way that delivers targeted, meaningful feedback on each and every call. The impact has been astounding. We've seen improved customer satisfaction, improved employee satisfaction, and employee retention, whilst also driving efficiencies and helping reduce cost. This is the new economy. It can only really be achieved by moving away from the old inefficient methods that we've seen. Thank you.
Wonderful. Well, thank you very much for that. I'm now we're going to jump across in a short while to a quiz. But before I do that, just like to know if anyone would like to see a demonstration of the Nice Enlightened platform. If you just like to put your details in the box there. Some interesting stats there. If only 9% of agents feel that the QA program helps them, which I think is a rather damning incitement. Use self-learning tools in areas to help agents help themselves. And I thought there was a very fascinating link on the slide you had there about the link between sentiment scoring and customer satisfaction scores. Seems to be a very strong link between the promoters overall. So let's just go across to the chat room. If you're not already logged in, it's callcenterhelper.com/chat. And if you'd like to get ready to vote on the quiz with these buttons, A, B, C, or D. So I think we've got a fairly small number today logged into the chat room. So link callcenterhelper.com/chat. Now's the time to jump in if you're not already in there. So the first question, true or false? In January 2021, the customer satisfaction scores across all industries fell to their lowest level since July 2015. Is that A, true, or B, false? If you like to use the coloured buttons at the bottom of the chat room. A, true, or B, false. So just give you a couple of more seconds to log in and put your vote on there. We've got most people have voted there now. So you actually got that right. Yes, according to a survey, this is the UK Customer Satisfaction Index from the Institute of Customer Service. Even before the pandemic, things had dropped to their lowest level ever. So according to our research, which channel gives the best customer satisfaction? Is it A, email? Is it B, live chat? Is it C, phone? Or is it D, self-service? Which one gives you the best level of customer satisfaction? So getting a few more votes. I think people are warming up now. So you've actually got it wrong. Most people went for live chat. The actual answer is it is the phone. Typically gives the best levels of customer satisfaction. This was according to our survey earlier in the year. Showed that phone followed by face-to-face. Phone followed by self-service. Email, very, very slow. Live chat, despite what you think, is actually not terribly popular at giving the best satisfaction. I guess people aren't particularly great at typing. Has its place, but not necessarily the best way for doing a complex problem. According to which UK brand, according to which research, offers the best customer service? Is it A, First Direct, B, Lakeland, C, Marks and Spencer's, or D, Waterstones? Which one gives the best customer service, would you say? It's quite a diverse range here. So let's just close the voting here. And most of you got that right. Yes, First Direct. Top of their brands for customer service, followed by Lakeland, M&S, and Waterstones coming in fourth, equal with Waitrose there. So so they all did very well. Unfortunately, it tends to be the telecoms providers. I don't know why it is. I think they benchmark each other to provide equally poor customer service, and perhaps not surprisingly, that Ryanair came up on the bottom of the list there. Be careful with benchmarking is the answer. And I think this is the last question. Which famous entrepreneur once said, "Your most unhappy customers are your greatest source of learning"? Was it A, Andrew Carnegie, B, Jeff Bezos, C, Oprah Winfrey, or D, Bill Gates? So which famous entrepreneur once said your most unhappy customers are your greatest source of learning? Let's have a look at the results for that. And it was indeed Bill Gates. Most of you thought it was Jeff Bezos. No, it was actually Bill Gates. Another great Bill Gates quote is, which links very well to the contact center, is, as we look ahead to the next century, leaders will be those who empower others. So the winner of that is Jeanette. So we'll be getting in touch with you, Jeanette, and there'll be a prize hanging, coming across your way. Right, now we've got a bit more of a treat now. Next on the agenda we've got is Gavin Scott. So Gavin, if I stop sharing now, if you'd like to put your presentation up, and I think you're going to be taking us through about delighting customers.
Absolutely, and I'm just delighted that I actually beat Fran in the quiz there. I don't know if you noticed that, Fran. I was a couple of...
I did notice it, Gavin, thank you.
I was quite pleased that I got so many right. I didn't put down phone. I think I put down self-serve for that other question. So that was one that I got wrong.
Because I was thinking of the younger population, possibly.
Yeah, so we're certainly pleased with that. And some great presentations so far, certainly done by Arif and Fran. And so, yes, thank you for bringing me back and getting me to do another session here with the Call Centre Helper magazine, Jonty. And for those of you who have seen me present before, you know that I use hand-drawn images, I use great storytelling to bring my ideas to life, and so today is no different. And I help businesses to create 5-star customer experiences, even if they've had no previous customer service training. And today I'm going to share with you some of my tried and tested content that will help you to drive up your customer satisfaction scores. And so Fran has talked about the importance of nailing down your purpose or your raison d'etre and making sure that the KPIs are absolutely aligned with your purpose. And Arif has talked us through you know, what customers expect and what are some of the behaviors that people need to show up with in order to provide great customer experiences. And so in this session now, I'm going to provide you with some practical tools that will really help you and your people to provide those easy, effective, and rich conversations that will absolutely help to drive up customer satisfaction scores. And when it comes to driving up your customer satisfaction, you know, it's the little things that can make the biggest difference. So let me introduce you to my own version of Angel Delight. Now, those of you who have not heard of Angel Delight, it's a dessert that is made by simply adding milk to the powder in the packet. You give it a good whisk, you pop it in the fridge for 5 minutes, and voila, for the French people online, it's done. It's simple, easy to make, and it delivers the results that any good dessert should. And so Delight is an acronym for some simple and easy steps that you can apply to deliver great results for your customers. So let's have a look at what each of these little, well, let's have a look at what Delight actually stands for. So here we go. So the D is for deliver occasional surprise. And we all love a surprise, don't we? I mean, I know when I was a kid, I used to ask for a box of surprises for my birthday and at Christmas. And I just loved unwrapping each present and being super pleased with the surprise inside. And so what do we need to do for our customers? Well, there's a couple of things that we can do. So first of all, we can answer the unasked question, right? What we have to do is think about how we can use our knowledge, our experience, our expertise to answer those unasked questions and surprise your customers with some extra information or insight that is going to enhance the experience that you provide them with. The aim here is to really get your customers to say, oh, that's useful information. I didn't know about that. So think about answering those unasked questions. Where you can, give them a compliment. This can be something simple like, that's a lovely name. Where does it come from? Or if they've got a really cool, funky business name, give them a compliment on that. Or if they live in a nice part of the country that you know is a nice part of the country, then say, that's a nice part of the country. It must be a great place to live. So just think about some of the simple things that you can do to give your customers a compliment. And then you demonstrate how much you value your customers. Let your customers know how much you value their business. So simple things like sending them a thank you card or a thank you email or something like that. And there's a great story that I came across recently. The CEO of a company called Gymshark, he sent 2,000 handwritten cards to his customers after they'd experienced some issues with the website on a Black Friday. And after doing that, the following Black Friday, it was their best ever. I mean, it's simple acts like this that go a long way to really demonstrate how much you value your customers. And by doing that, yes, it creates customer satisfaction, but it also creates customer loyalty. And give them something for nothing. We all like a little something for nothing, don't we? I mean, I had a recent situation where I lost a recording from one of my podcasts, and the company who I used, they went above and beyond to try and find this recording. And after doing everything that they couldn't find the recording. And so they sent me a personalized message to say, sorry, Gavin, we can't find it. What we'll do is we'll give you 5 credits for future podcasts. It was just a nice little surprise. It was something that they didn't have to do. And my overall impression of them is a positive one. So give people something for nothing. So next we've got E for excite. And if you can't get excited for your customers about your product or service that you provide, then how do you expect them to? Right. So, if you think about iPhone users, those of you who've had a brand new iPhone, what does that experience feel like when you get your new iPhone? Just the box itself just excites you, and it makes you feel like there's a quality there's a quality product inside. I don't know about you, but I mean, I've got about 15 iPhone boxes in my office. I just can't throw the boxes away. It just feels like it's great quality and it's too good to throw away. So, think about how you can excite your customers with the stuff that you do and make it feel special. if you can, compliment them on their choice. If this is a great product or this is a great service. And so just reinforce the fact that they've made a great decision. And, you know, maybe even get them to use their imagination. And so, you know, engage their imagination and create some sort of an emotional connection by saying things like, just imagine what it's going to feel like when we've got everything in place for you. And just imagine what it's going to feel like when we get this service up and running for you. So just create that buzz and create that level of excitement. And then think about, you know, when it comes to you know, customers who you need to help recover from a situation, that then help to make sure that they know that they're in safe hands with you. You know, you're in safe hands with us and we'll get you back up and running as soon as we can. And so just, you know, make them feel as though you've absolutely got their backs and you feel excited for them when we're going to get things back up and running. And so, you know, let them know once you're back up and running, you know, it's going to be great and we'll look after you, we'll take care of you, and you're absolutely in safe hands with us. And so E is for excite. Next, we've got L, which is for lift the mood. And so what can we do to make sure we lift the mood? Well, just be positive in your interactions. I mean, think about your tone of voice. Smile, be bright, be engaging, be cheerful. You know, your behavior breeds behavior. And so make sure that you come across in a positive way and demonstrate a level of energy and enthusiasm when you're interacting with your customers. I mean, we all make a choice when it comes to how we show up to the workplace. We can choose to be average or we can choose to be world class. And so make that choice and choose to be world class for your customers every day. And I've got to tell you a quick story about a world-class customer experience that I had. It was a couple of years ago. Our Hoover broke down. And so we called up Dyson and they sent an engineer around. And this person came to my front door. They knocked on the front door. I opened the door. They introduced themselves. And the first words were, "Where's the patient?" I mean, I looked behind me and I was thinking, the patient? What are you talking about? He's like, "Where's the Hoover?" I'm like, "It's under the stairs." He says, "Okay, get the patient. Let's get this sorted out for you." And I kid you not, he came into my living room, he laid down a towel, he put the Hoover on the towel, and he operated on this Hoover like it was a real patient. I mean, he was just so enthusiastic. And he did his stuff. He did various bits of cleaning. He was talking me and my wife through it, but the experience was just brilliant. And when he left, my wife said, "Wow, I can't wait for the Hoover to break down again." I mean, it was a world-class customer experience. And so, you know, think about the approach that you can take when it comes to how you interact with your customer. We've got to think about how we can lift the mood. You know, let's not be a mood Hoover or an egghead or an energy sapper. Think about how you can come across in a positive, bright, engaging, and enthusiastic way. And then I is for interested. And so remember, we've got 2 ears and 1 mouth. And so we need to make sure that we use them in that proportion when interacting with our customers. And if we think about this and the fact that the customer is the hero, and so if we treat our customers as the hero in every conversation, then that's certainly going to help to make sure they feel special in those conversations. You know, be interested in them, their day, their business, their current situation. The more interest you demonstrate in them, the more interested they'll become in you. So demonstrate real interest. You know, think about how you can ask more curious questions. One of the key behaviors that Arif shared before, you know, the importance of asking questions and being curious. So, you know, demonstrate curiosity. The more curious you are, the less judgment you have on people. And so stay curious and really be interested in finding stuff out. And listen to hear, not listen to speak. Really tune into the words, the emotions, the feelings, and really hear what your customers are saying. Okay, so I is for be interested. And then the G is all about the importance of being a good guide. And so at this point, Jointy said to me, "Gav, it'll be great if you can put a beard on at this precise moment, but I'll leave that to your imagination." But ultimately, you know, it's our job to be a good guide. And you know, when customers come to you with a problem, then you've got to guide them through. You've got to guide them through and make sure that you provide them with the answers that they need. And so share your insights, share your wisdom, give them a plan, or help them to overcome what it is that they need to get sorted out. So just be that good guide. Remember, that's what we're here to do. We're guiding them through the problem and helping them to find a solution, or giving them a solution ourselves. So be a good guide is the G. H is all about the importance of, where possible, try to have a little bit of light-hearted fun. Let's remember that, we're all human. So it's where we can have a bit of a chuckle at the opportune moments. People who forget little things like their registration plate for their car. I mean, just have some fun with it. Yeah, I always forget mine, or their mobile phone number. What's your mobile phone number? Oh, I haven't got a clue. Yeah, I'm the same. I always forget my mobile phone number. I haven't got, don't know what it is. So have some fun with people. Be human. Have a bit of a chuckle. And I don't know about you, but when I was at school, I mean, I love playtime, and I think we need to learn how to play a little bit more, at the right time, okay, and where it's appropriate, but just have that level of fun. And then finally, make sure that you thank your customers. Saying thank you binds people together, right? It increases mental well-being. And it makes both you and the customer feel good. I mean, how many times have you said to your customer, thank you? Thank you for your business. Thank you for being with us for X number of years. We really value you as a customer. So we've got to say this more to our customers. And let me share with you the final story. Over lockdown, I went to pick up a prescription for my father-in-law. And whilst I was at the chemist, there was a lady behind the counter. Her name was Jordan. And she was speaking to a patient on the phone. And the service that she provided was brilliant. I mean, this patient was clearly in a vulnerable state. They didn't want to come into the chemist to pick up their prescription. She gave reassurance. She promised the patient that she'd be there waiting for him. And so after I picked up my prescription, I just said to Jordan, you are killing it when it comes to customer service. Your customer service is brilliant. And you should have seen her face. She was like, wow, thank you. And I walked out onto that car park and walked back to my car, and I felt great as well. So Jordan felt great and I felt great. And so, say thank you more. It's a simple thing, but it goes a long way. So there you have it, folks. There's a little bit of Angel Delight delivered in a fun type way. Hopefully it's easy, it's memorable. The trigger images remind you of some of the content that we've shared. But like I said at the start, it's the little things that make the biggest difference. So yes, good stuff. Thanks, Jonty.
Wonderful. Well, thank you very much for that. And I guess the first one is to say thank you. So indeed was the last point. So thank you very much for that. I wonder what everyone loved best about Gavin's presentation. Perhaps you can say thank you in the audience. I particularly like the deliver occasional surprises, give something for nothing, give a compliment. Did love the bit, lift the mood, smile, be engaging, be cheerful, bring some energy to it. I think is just a great thing to do, because it's so easy to go next. When it's your 54th call of the day and just want to go home. And be interested in your customers, ask curious questions, listen to hear. So if you'd just like to put into the chat room what you like best about Gavin's presentation would be great. Some great tips there on how you can dramatically improve your customer satisfaction by getting your agents advisors on board. So let's have a look at some tips and questions. Lots of stuff coming through on in the chat room. Gary says, mystery shop yourself to understand your service across multiple channels, hold times, agent opening, response time on web chat, website navigation. Do some mystery shopping to see what it feels like. In fact, rather than necessarily using someone else, phone in yourself and do it. That's a great way of getting some service. Valinda says, and I guess this ties with the comment, Francesca, that you made, make access to the right FAQs easy for the frontline advisors. We did it about making it easier for making it easier for customers. But Francesca, I guess,
Yeah, no,
advisors.
we're doing a lot of work where we're tying together our customer and our agent knowledge database. So we use the content management the same. So it's really important they give the same consistent reply, which is really key. So that's a good tip.
Indeed, excellent. Javelin says, engage with customers, measure your service through surveys such as Rant and Rave, for instance, to get instant feedback from a customer. I guess, Arif, as well as through surveys, listening to the calls, the call recordings are quite useful as well.
Yes, absolutely. So yeah, being able to listen to the calls, it's all really around the coaching and being able to really focus on what's important to deliver the experience you're looking for.
Indeed. So I guess tied in very much to your comment, Gavin, it's the little things that go a long way. People talk about that, says Kim.
Yeah, and I think, you know, a lot of the stuff that we've shared is common sense, but it's not common practice. And so let's remember there's some simple things that we can do here that's going to make a massive difference. And so, you know, remember people's names, remember detail, you know, say thank you. The simple stuff really helps to drive customer satisfaction scores.
Excellent. I think I once heard once that common sense isn't that common. So I think it's quite an interesting bit. Here's an interesting one from Mel. To increase agent buy-in, give feedback immediately so the relevance is in real time, particularly the benefit of when the feedback is positive. Arif, I guess that if the feedback is delayed like once a month, that isn't particularly recent.
Yes, absolutely. And also what we're seeing, we talked about measuring behaviours, and a lot of what I talked about was kind of after the event. Actually, the evolution of that is being able to monitor those behaviours in real time and give the agents the alerts to say that they can self-correct. And that's really where we see it going. And that technology is available now as well, which is incredible.
And Francesca, what things are you doing to give the feedback more immediately?
So we will sort of make sure they can monitor their own scores. They get the actual verbatim coming through on their own dashboard. So it's a live dashboard they can see real time coming through from the verbatim, which they love. And they can sort of see their scores tick up. We do things like Club 10, you know, 80% of your scores are a 10 and they go into this Club 10, but that's obviously over the time. And I was going to reply to the mystery shopping thing because it's about listening to calls. I also think, you know, get your agents to listen to calls because there's nothing better than playing a few calls to them and them all listening and then going, oh God, I can now see how that sounds and what that's like, you know, and it really helps them to learn. So I think that's something that Janelle was mentioning in her quality calibrations. That sounds like she probably does some of that as well.
We've also had another comment back on the little things in our quality calibration sessions.
That was it. That was the one I was reading.
Always telling our agents the little things that make the customer experience. These were brilliant ways we can share with our teams to help them remember those small bits important to the customer. Yeah, great stuff, Janelle there. John says, listen to those that are dissatisfied and act on their advice when it rings true. Try to find out as much detail as possible. I think, Francesca, that ties in with your bit about removing the big pain points.
Yeah, I think really understanding the true insight of what customers are telling you is either confusing them, is broken in your processes, or is a pain point, and then doing something about turn that insight into actionable outcomes. That's absolutely true. And someone also mentioned about the closed loop. You know, you can call your customers back when they've had a really bad score and sort of close the loop on that and really sort of put it right, which is good.
And so we've got one final tip, Gavin, which is meeting customer expectations always begins with understanding customers' wants and needs. Customers will not be satisfied unless these wants and needs are met. Therefore, customer satisfaction cannot be improved without measuring levels of satisfaction. Gavin, what's your thought on that?
I think for me that really signposts to the need to be present and engage with the conversation and listen to the words and the feelings and be curious. And so, you know, if you're not present and you're not curious, then you're not going to find this stuff out. And so, you know, I think, you know, I talk a lot about having that mindset of you know, being present and being curious, and that in itself will allow you to be able to deliver exactly what the customer wants and needs.
Wonderful. Be present, be curious. I think is very important. Well, we've reached the top of the hour. If you could just give us a little bit of feedback, what did you like best about the webinar? Let's look at who won the winning tip today. So the winning tip was won by Kim, who said, be proactive with advisor feedback, real time or over the shoulder coaching. I guess that's a metaphorical over the shoulder, harking back to the old days.
Yeah.
Over the shoulder coaching to drive the customer experience can be as effective, if not more, if not better than the formal one-to-one. So it's just all about, I think this is almost about catch
in the moment.
Saying,
yeah,
doing something right, I think is great. We've got a little survey to fill out. You can watch the replay, probably be online within about half an hour on the website. We're coming back next week to look at the contact center of the future. And as our way of saying thank you, I'd like to say a great big thank you to our speakers today. Thank you to you, Francesca.
Thank you.
Thank you, Aaron.
A pleasure. Thank you, Jonty.
Thank you to Gavin as well.
Thank you, Jonty. You're welcome.
And a big thank you to all of our customers, to everyone who attended today. Thank you for joining us. We'll be back again next week at same time, where we're going to be looking at the contact center of the future. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Take care. Bye-bye.